Welcome back to Royals Review for episode 2, following the 1-1 draw with Birmingham. I'm your host, Dan Worth, and as ever, joined by Jimmy. Obviously, Jim, we were both there yesterday, still slightly nursing a hangover and very tired, but I'm hoping you're going to put a positive spin on it. How do you feel after yesterday's game, and what are your general thoughts?
Yeah, mate, I'm feeling rough. I've definitely not got over it at all. But no, it was a great way to start the season. Yeah, I was completely ruined by the end of it, but had a really decent day out. I thought Reading were fantastic. I thought we played some really, really good football, and yeah, we were unlucky to not leave with 3 points. I can't really comment on the penalty because I was too waved to properly see it by that point.
Yeah.
And none of the replays really show that good of an angle. But yeah, either way, like I said on the last pod, I'll take a draw all day against Birmingham, and I think the performance is definitely the main thing to take away from the game. So yeah, overall a decent start to the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like we said on episode 1, that Birmingham were going to be one of the top teams in this league this season. So for us to go toe to toe with them, and arguably, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but look the better side. Like I think we were the class act on display yesterday. But it's really encouraging. And actually, it's kind of exactly what we said would happen. Really, is that we'd probably get underestimated, but what we've shown in pre-season is there for all to see now that we do have a really exciting team. We do play nice football, and we're no mugs. Like we are not going to be the team that a lot of people had us as, like scrapping for points and being down the bottom. Like we are going to be in, and I'm hoping this more than anything. We're going to be in every game. Like we have a chance in every game. That's probably the hardest game we'll have all season in terms of going away and playing the best team in the league. And we've
Definitely.
come away with the draw. So plenty to be positive about. Um, it's actually made me really excited for the rest of the season. And to be honest, I'm glad we've done this on the Sunday, because if we had done this yesterday, I probably would have sounded a lot more disappointed than I do now. But I think, yeah, got over the disappointment, and now just looking at it as, one, a great day out, and two, just really positive signs for the rest of the season. Now, one of the key positives is obviously, I'm not even going to bother with the surname because I know I'm going to mess it up because I'm too tired. Kelvin E, lovely finish to put the Royals 1-0 up, but looked pretty threatening throughout, I thought. Anything to say on Kelv?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really improved over summer. For such a tall player, he's so technical. I don't think you'll find many players like Kelvin in this league. You know, he's got height, he's got pace, he's got flair. I don't know if you just saw him take the ball down on numerous occasions yesterday, just with a great first touch, and he can seemingly play in various positions now. But yeah, I mean, if we do end up signing a proper winger for the left-hand side, I still reckon he's going to get loads of game time there. And if not, you know, he could easily compete for number one with Smith up top on his own.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mentioned the goal, but he had 2 shots and both of them were on target, which is obviously, yeah, pretty good, particularly for someone out wide. He also scored the goal that was disallowed. I didn't really see that, so I can't comment on whether it was offside or not, but I haven't seen too much uproar, so I'm assuming it was. One big thing for me on his performance is the Birmingham fans on X since have all been very complimentary about his performance, and saying how good he is. Obviously, we tweeted earlier that he was our player of the match, and a lot of them seem to agree. In fact, most of them were saying, "Oh, we wish we'd bought him." I hope they don't buy him, because I'm a massive fan, and he proved yesterday like just how good he is, and I think he could be a vital part of this Reading team if they are to be successful this season. So, yeah, good start, Kelv. Hopefully, more to come from him.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
couple of
He had a fantastic game, and I think I saw in his post-match interview that he wants to try and beat. Well, it's kind of obvious, I guess. He wants to try and beat his tally from last season, which was, I think it was 11 goals. So yeah, I mean, I think he's probably expecting to get plenty of game time. I don't think he'd be looking for a move away. But yeah, fingers crossed. You never know, I guess, with Reading at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Fingers crossed. Another player then that was, well, fantastic, I thought, is Harvey Nibbs. I pretty much always think Harvey Nibbs is fantastic, but he proved it once again yesterday.
Mhm.
Most tackles of any Reading player and most key passes of any Reading player. And I'd argue those two metrics just show how important he is. He does a lot of the hard work in getting the ball back and breaking up play, and is also probably Reading's key creative outlet. So again, more credit to Harvey Nibbs. He's going to be another player that, if Reading are to be successful this season, he's going to need to put in big performances, and he's done that on day one. Slightly concerned that basically every time he made a tackle was falling on the ground and lying there for 2 minutes with cramp, which will probably come on to Reading's squad depth later on. But hopefully he's okay. I'm guessing he's just absolutely knackered because he's here, there, and everywhere. So hopefully he's okay and ready to go on Tuesday, or if not at the weekend. Anything to say on Nibs?
Yeah, just to sort of echo what you said, I guess. He was great. I thought everyone played really well, but especially the three more central midfield players, Nibs, Elliott, and Wing. I thought they were great. I thought Ben Elliott was fantastic. I was saying on the pod last week that he had sort of come on loads throughout pre-season, and he just looks miles better than Savage. And I think he showed that against, arguably the toughest opponent that we're going to come up against this season. So yeah, they were all great, but no, Nibs is, he's just one of those. Similar with Wing, you just expect them to be good every week, and they are good every week. So when they put in a solid performance again, you almost just take it for granted. But no, he was fantastic. I think he won man of the match, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he got the EFL man of the match. Yeah.
Yeah.
One player that's not had loads of recognition, but also put in a bit of a shift, is Sam Smith. Obviously, didn't get his goal. I've not actually really heard too much chatter about him since the game, but he won 8 aerial duels, which is the most in the game. Which, when you consider who he's coming up against, players that are minimum 2 inches taller than him, that's a pretty good output, I'd say. I think he caused their backline a lot of issues and was vital to Reading sort of turnover in play and then going forward. So yeah, shout out to Smith. I thought he was good too. Same with Mbenge. I know you're a huge Mbenge fan. He made the most clearances of any Reading player, which doesn't really come as a surprise. But it felt like he was everywhere as well. Do you agree?
Yeah. He picked off where he was in the preseason games as well. He was as good against Birmingham as he was against Harlem QPR. Slightly concerning at the end of the match. I think he did something to his knee, maybe. But yeah, fingers crossed he's all good. I thought, him and Bindon were fantastic at the back. So yeah, hopefully it's not an early injury for Mbengo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, look, I think we could probably sit here and just individually call out every single Reading player and talk about how good they were yesterday, because Reading were that good and were that impressive. But we will move on. It's just one of the things that I've already mentioned that I wanted to talk about is the worry that if there are injuries and the squad depth isn't quite there, and we do need to bring people in. And I still fully believe that if we can. But let's talk about Garcia very quickly, because I thought from his 16-minute cameo, he showed real signs of promise, which for a 16-year-old, well, it's so impressive. I think he successfully made 2 dribbles, which was the most of any Reading player, bearing in mind he played 16 minutes. He had that one run where I think he beat like 2 or 3 players and couldn't quite get the right shot off. Any comment on Garcia, or just more importantly, like how much do you think Reading will need to rely on players like that if we are unable to bring anyone in?
I think we'll just have to wait 4 weeks and ask me that question again, because I do think we'll sort the depth issue out once the takeover is complete. But no, I thought Garcia was great. He showed signs in pre-season as well of just how good he is going forward and how skillful he is. Um, is he ready to be a regular for the first team? I don't think so. I mean, he's only 16, but it just shows the sort of players that we've got in our academy. Um, so he's definitely one for the future by the looks of it. But yeah, I do think we'll get the depth issue sorted eventually. But we do have the players in the academy if needed.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I completely agree, and it kind of emphasises to me again the importance of our Category One academy status, because we do have these guys coming through that can have an impact in the first team. I mean, we've seen it loads over the years, but Garcia is yet another example of how strong our academy is, and yeah, that hammers home its importance to me. Right, anyway, let's talk very briefly then about Birmingham. Um, Obviously, loads has been made of how much money they've spent. Um, a key one is Alfie May. I am not a huge fan of him scoring the penalty, obviously, because it's a goal against my team. I'm even less of a fan of him running over to the away fans and shushing them. Um, Poor from you, mate. I know you're probably still gutted about Aziz schooling Charlton last season. Um, but yeah, that was a bit rogue. Also, not a huge fan of the pre-match fireworks and flamethrowers, but I guess if you've got the money, then you should flaunt it. Any words on Birmingham?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's early days, but I don't think Birmingham looked any stronger than the above average sides in this league. Going off what they spent alone, I was expecting to see much more from the get go. I don't think their expensive signings looked any better than the rest of the players on the pitch.
Mhm.
I mean, they grew into the second half, but again, they didn't really look like scoring. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I can still see them finishing somewhere near the top, but I don't think it's going to be a but by how many points scenario,
Uh,
which has been sprayed around a bit on social media over the last week. Yeah, I think the comments from the manager were a bit stupid, to be honest. I think he was banging on about Mbenge's pass back, which arguably it could be a pass back. But if he's riding on that to win the game, he's going to have some big issues this season. He needs to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, I couldn't really work out what their approach was to the game tactically,
mhm.
and their passing in general was just shocking. I don't know how many crossfield balls were just going out for throws. It's got to be close to 10.
Yeah.
It almost seemed as if every pass was going out, which as a Reading fan we were loving it. But yeah, they weren't as good as I was expecting them to be.
Yeah, I do think it was a bit of reality check for them. Although, in fairness, a lot of the guys that we spoke to on our travels that were Birmingham fans were a little bit more grounded than um, some of the accounts we've seen on X
Oh, one
talking
hundred
about how many
percent,
points they were. But they were all
definitely.
still very confident. I think everyone we spoke to was predicting at least a two-goal win for Birmingham yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, I think it is a bit of a reality check. They will be fine. Like they're not going to be down the bottom. They're probably almost definitely will be right up the top. But I should have actually checked the betting markets, because I think they were shorter than 2-1 going into the game. I'd maybe suggest they might be a bit bigger than that now. Um, I agree with you on the manager's comments. I'm going to put it down to his inexperience, but he must have been watching a completely different game. I think he said that Birmingham dominated the whole 90, which I don't really have any comments on that, to be honest. If that's what he's seen from that game, um, I'm a little bit worried for him and for Birmingham for the rest of the season, because that is just not the truth. Um, they did look better in the second half, as you said, but I think Reading tired from a relentless press, um, and they fought all the way to the end, the Reading boys. So a lot to be proud of. And I still don't think, even when Reading were knackered, Birmingham looked overly threatening. And I think even you see towards the end that when it went 1-1, I think Reading were the team that looked most likely to go and get another one, and at least look like they wanted it the most. You see Mbenge sprinting up right up the other end of the pitch to take a long throw in with a bad knee. So yeah, I thought 1-1 was harsh. But any Birmingham fans that are listening, I'm sure you'll be fine. But that is League One for you, and I think that there might be a few more days like that you'll have to endure. I think we're pretty much there, Jim. A couple of other bits that I wanted to very quickly talk about is some more of the trivial stuff, like, for example, the lovely lady in the away end bar that was giving us £4 pints by accident. Shout out to you. Well, shout out to you, Jim, for being the cameraman for the full game. For anyone that's not seen on X and TikTok, we've got a fair bit of content that went out, which Jim was behind the camera for. So go and check that out. I mean, whilst you're there, give us a follow and like everything, and maybe even subscribe to our YouTube. Anything else to add, James, apart from the 10 pints? Anything you can remember that I might have missed off?
No, not really. I think just shout out to anyone that jumped on the video yesterday to get your thoughts. And yeah, the Birmingham fans that we did meet as well were much sounder than the ones that we've come across on X. They've got a much more realistic view on how the season's going to go and how the teams are going to play that come up against Birmingham. But no, I think you've sort of covered all bases. Yeah, Colchester in the cup on Tuesday, so I think we'll probably see a lot more of the academy players. I think we'll see Kanu make his start in the cup. Probably see Garcia again. But yeah, fingers crossed. It's another decent game. We can get the win there. I imagine we will, but yeah, you never know, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, that brings us to a close then. So, as I said, one last time, shout out to the Birmingham fans. You guys were very welcoming and lovely. Shout out to anyone who jumped on the mic with me and spoke some rubbish about Reading. A massive down shout out to Cross Country Trains. Terrible performance from them as ever. I'm sure we'll probably have a lot more terrible cross country journeys to look forward to this season, but big thumbs down for Cross Country Trains. Thanks to all the Reading fans on those trains for keeping the morale high. That was much needed late at night last night. But that's it then. Birmingham reviewed. As I said, like, follow, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Come on, you Ars.
See you later.